optimizing picking efficiency will be clear winners in times to come. I would like to invite Mr. Marcel Wilhelms, who's the General Manager EPC, which is Ehrhardt Partner Consulting, to present his paper and share with us the new trends in picking efficiencies and its benefits to warehouse operations. Marcel is the General Manager of EPC and Project Management for large and complex logistics and warehouse projects with special focus on intralogistics. He's delivered multiple successful projects within a wide range of industries and in particular to the food and automotive sector. Marcel.
All right, yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction. So just 2 more presentations and then you're ready to go. So I would like to spend some time to talk about optimizing picking efficiency in manual warehouse operations. And I'll introduce myself just quickly. My name is Marcel. I'm from the company Ehrhardt Partner, and we're focusing on warehouse design, optimization of existing facilities, but at the same time also implementing warehouse management software. And today I would like to spend some time to talk about how you can optimize your picking efficiency just now, so you don't have to wait for the next 5 or 10 years until drones and robotics will be in your warehouse. So let's see what we can do at this stage in order to give you some benefits. So nowadays, when you open up any popular supply chain magazine or warehouse magazine, we probably read a lot about things what we already heard from my colleagues before. So we have big data, and how big data will make our lives much more easier in the warehouse. We read about predictive analytics and how things will change. We talk about Industry 5.0 and the Internet of Things and how things communicate to each other. And all these things are true and they're coming for sure. And also we as a consultant, we see certain smart warehousing trends. And here I will also link myself with my former colleagues. So we have trends like digitalization, where we digitally processes in order to make the logistic process more transparent and more smoothly. We have the Internet of Things, and we have big trends like big data and artificial intelligence, which are one of the key drivers in optimizing the warehouse efficiency. And some other 2 topics are machine-to-machine communication and AGVs, automated guided vehicles, which will come sooner or later. However, the topic of the AGV is not new, so we heard it before that it's already 40 to 50 years old, and at the moment we have a little bit of a comeback in the hype, especially when it comes to single bin transportation or single pallet transportation. So when we have all these megatrends in warehouse logistics available, why still try to optimize the manual picking operation and to increase the efficiency? So maybe there's no reason for that anymore. However, at least what we see in our projects, and when we're visiting multiple clients in the region doing our projects, more than 90% of the warehouses are still operated manually. So this means there are huge impacts on optimizing the efficiency in the warehouse, and when we put some numbers on it, it will be quite clear. So first of all, we have to understand that around 50% of the overall logistics cost, which you generate in the company, account for the warehousing costs. About 50% of these warehousing costs account for the picking and the operations, and about 50% of these picking costs account for walking times and idle times in your picking. So overall, your picking, walking, and idle times account for 1/8 of the total logistics cost. So there's a huge cost driver in optimizing the manual warehouse operations. When we talk about manual warehouse operation, what does it mean? It means that we have a person-to-good system. So people will walk to a storage location, pick an item, and place it, for example, to a picking station. Also, it can be used with software or without software. So just by using a software, like an ERP or a WMS, it does not mean that you have an automated operation. It's still manually because it's operated by humans, by manpower. So the topic is on optimizing those persons to good systems and what we can do now rather than to wait for the next 5 or 10 years. So when the warehouses still play a predominant role, what we can do actually to optimize the warehouse. So we see three key drivers. The first of all is paperless picking. We saw it before when we had the topics from Honeywell or from Zebra. We have RF devices and voice technology helping us to eliminate the paper picking list and to be much more efficient. We have multi-order picking, which means we combine multiple orders and pick it in one pick run rather than multiple orders each time. And we have to prevent picking errors, because picking errors does not have a negative effect on your customer happiness when you get the wrong item. It's not too good, but at the same time you create huge error cost when picking the wrong items or too many items or some conditional error, for example. So let's dig a little bit into these topics, shed some light on it, and start with the first key driver. Paperless picking. With paperless picking, you can increase the picking efficiency by up to 50%. And how do you reach this kind of 50%? First of all, we need to understand what is paperless picking. So with paperless picking, we refer to technologies to eliminate the classic picking list and to replace it by modern technology such as RF devices or voice picking. So when we're using it in the person-to-goods operation picking, but also for packing processes, inbound or outbound, we can use it at the same time, or we can use it as an element to supplement the automated or semi-automated warehouses. And the impact based on that, based on our implemented projects and our benchmarks we took, we see an increase of around 30% when using RF devices compared to the picking list, and around 50% when using voice technology. And of course, for some projects the numbers are a little bit higher, for some a little bit lower, so we can agree that these are average figures. So as a next point, I would like to point out some key drivers, how it will also save you some cost at the end of the day. So when we talk about different key drivers like are you hands-free doing the picking, especially when you're in distribution, you have to pick single items, you have to pick case picks or full pallets, you need to hands-free. So with voice picking, for example, there's 100% hands-free picking, so you don't waste your time in handling an RF gun or paper picking list. Obviously, you have to reduce picking time by using modern technology, as you are much more efficient doing the pick run itself, and also by using scan technologies, you can optimize it. Lower operating cost means that the paid man-hour is much more used more efficiently, because you can actually pick more items per paid man-hour, which will increase the productivity, and you can do more with either less people, or you can have your next growth for the next years comes with the same amount, so you don't have to invest in additional resources. So it's either way you can name it. Very interesting fact is the picking error rate. So there's some numbers out there, so more or less accurate, we can say around paper picking list generates around 1% of picking errors, which means that for every 100 orders you picked, 1 order is picked wrongly. And for a RF device, the typical number is 0.5%, and for voice picking, we have around 0.10%, which at the later stage, when we come to creating picking errors, we see a huge impact related to the cost. And typically, when we're implementing such projects, the typical ROI is around 1 year or less, and we will also come to that at a later stage. Okay, key driver number 2, multi-order picking. Multi-order picking generates up to 40% in time savings during your picking operation. So let's see how it's possible. Before we see it, I also point out what are the relation between multi-order picking and cost. So when you have official figures or non-official figures, the usual increase in labor cost per year is on average around 5%. For one company it's maybe a little bit higher, for others a little bit lower. At the same time, there's a declining job effectiveness, for example, working as a picker. So we need to have effective measures and methods in order to make the job more attractive, for example, using the technology, and at the same time to increase the efficiency so the people can be much more productive. So one technique is multi-order picking. So multi-order picking is a strategy where you combine multiple orders, so you club them together, and with one pick run you pick, for example, 6 or 9 orders, and then you displace it at the packing station, pack it and ship it. rather than to pick each order on an individual basis. And this can already be implemented in your existing environment with your existing ERP, or if you don't use any software, you can also use it on a manual mode. So this is also possible. And as the effect, we reach around 25% in efficiency gain during the picking, and reduces the savings in idle times and walking times of around 40%. So just a quick use case how it works. Let's have a look at the single order picking. So we have order number one. We usually have the time start to prepare the order. We have the travel time. We pick the item and the time to provide the item on a specific place. And then we start with the next order. And at the end of the day, we pick all the orders and consume a lot of times for walking and idle times. So with multi-order picking, what we're doing, we have a little bit more time to prepare the orders, obviously, because we have to prepare for 6 or 9 orders. Then we start the travel time, which is usually the same travel line when we're going through the aisles. We have a little bit more time about picking, and then we have the travel time back and displace the items, with result when you have a lot of items to pick throughout the day, you will end up with an average cost saving of about 40% in time and 25% increase in productivity. And this one can be done immediately, so there's no technology which we need to wait for. Another key driver, which will add to an element with multi-order picking, is the intelligent picking path calculation. What I mean by that? So you all may be familiar with the ABC analysis. So ABC analysis means you have the fast-moving items, medium-moving items, and slow-moving items. And then you calculate the throughput, and then probably you allocate your 20% items which account for around 80% of your throughput in front of the in and outbound, so you have short walking and distance and can pick them very efficient. But there's also some other measurements which are even much more efficient than the classic ABC classification for some certain order lines, which is the item association classification. So what is it? With the item association classification, we identify items which are usually ordered together. So when a customer orders one item, maybe to a large extent, to a high probability, they also order another item. And this will especially work when the order is around 3 to 5 order lines and onwards. Then it makes really sense, because then you have a high probability in order to identify those items. So when we identify those items, we can club them together, allocate it in the storage, which means that with each order, the picking and walking time will be reduced compared to the classic ABC analysis. And here we have one use case about one of our customers where we implemented the item association classification, and it revealed that based on their order structure, they have to order around 3 to 5 order lines which they have to pick. They can reduce the travel and time and increase the picking efficiency by around 20%. So also this kind of calculation you can immediately use, and you don't need any robotics or drones in your warehouse to utilize this one in order to make your warehouse much more efficient. Key driver number 3, very important I think especially in this region, is to prevent picking errors. Because picking errors, as the majority of delivery mistakes at the end customer, actually originate during the picking process. And of course we all know we picked the wrong item, we picked too less items. Of course if you pick too much items, the customer usually don't want to tell you because they want to keep the item. And you have, for example, conditional errors, you pick the wrong best before date or the wrong batch number. But also there's more to it. Overall, during our research, we uncovered there's around 25 to 30 errors which can occur during the picking process. And one simple factor is maybe bad lighting in the aisle, so that you cannot really identify the right item, because if you pick up the tomato ketchup in spicy or tomato ketchup in mild, they may be next to each other, so you have a big and easy error, but you can prevent it with using modern technology. Which brings me now back to the relation of error rates and costs. So when we now take into consideration the error rate, for example for the picking list, which is around 1%, the RF device 0.5, the voice picking for 0.10%, and for this calculation we say let's pick around 5,000 items a day, which is not too much, and we have an average error rate of around 10 dirhams per error rate. 10 dirhams maybe consists of bringing the wrong item to the customer, you have to get it returned, you have to do your return check, store it again, pick it again, right item going to your customer. So this will add up to the error cost, which is around 10 AED on average per error rate, which results at the end of the year that with the classic pick list you generate around 100,000 dirhams in error cost, while you almost only have half of the cost by RF device and around 90% of it just for the voice picking, which means that you not only increase the efficiency with modern technology, but at the same time you will reduce your error rates and the cost, which you can directly link to the investment in the technology in order to have a better ROI. So usually ROI is only calculated by what can I save, what does it cost, but when you also take into consideration the error rates, you have a much more better ROI and understanding of the whole topic. Alright, so what did we learn today? We learned that we have 3 key drivers in order to optimize the manual warehouse operation, which is the paperless picking, we have the multi-order picking, and we have to prevent picking errors. And also these elements work for themselves on an individual basis. We have to consider them and putting it together in order to unlock the full potential of the 3 key drivers. So in that way it really works and you can implement it in your warehouse so you can have a direct benefit from it. So in fact you can save up to 50% increase in picking efficiency by using paperless picking, 40% time savings by using multi-order picking, and around 80% reduction of error costs by preventing these errors with modern technologies such as voice or RF device. And basically these numbers also match what we heard from my colleagues before. So now when we can utilize all this at this stage, I just want to briefly talk about what will come in the future, also to help you to increase the warehouse. And there are also we identified 3 key drivers, which we also can utilize in the future to even uplift the efficiency with new offerings. For example, augmented reality and virtual reality. We as a use case, we see it more as not to increase the speed in picking, but to help the people get visual information and have a better accuracy, for example, in the picking or packing process, that it will support me in order to reduce my errors. We have automated guided vehicles and robotics. Use case can, for example, the automatic picking of slow-moving items in the distribution center on a 24/7 basis with no human interaction in order to reduce the operational expense. However, also it picks automatically. At the same time, we need technicians and maintenance staff in order to take care of the stuff. So people usually forget about that, but we have to consider it, which is also a cost to the HMB and robotics. And we have the collaborative robotics cobots, which will help me to single pick items. At the moment, this technology is more or less evolving for some slow-moving items, but at the same time, it's still quite expensive, so we have a little bit more time to utilize such technologies. So for now on, you can focus on the paperless picking, multi-order picking, and preventive picking errors. And I would conclude my short presentation with a quote and quick advice to you. So Henry Ford once was asked, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. So my advice is to you, be open for new developments, new technologies, try it in your warehouse. If it fits for you, perfect. If not, then at least you give it a chance, because some other companies are around the corner which they utilize new technologies because they also want to have a slice of the cake. So just be open, getting all the information you have your pilot projects. If you have a doubt, put it in your operation from one day to another, and then be open-minded about some technologies. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you have a good last presentation, and then all the best for tomorrow's day as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcel. Very enlightening presentation. I think some of the key takeaways that I would probably look at is the paperless picking, which is a very, very initial step that most of the organizations probably need to take. And then amongst the much evolved technologies, augmented reality is another one technology which seems to be, gaining a lot of fire, and we can see great benefits in implemented of augmented reality solutions per se in much evolved markets. Thanks for your insight in that.